I'm mixed. People like never know what I am, so it's kind of
Love
cool.
it. I feel like we're gonna dive into that in a second, but I'm waiting for Saracen. Saracen, give us something.
Well, this game was actually Dina's idea, but
Okay.
so.
Okay. So we play this on the podcast. It's called I Love, hence the clue in your date cards, ladies. So what we're going to do is I'll start you guys off. I'll give you a category, and you are going to take turns saying your favorite thing in that category and why it is. And then you can take turns. So then we'll start with Josh, and then he could kick it to somebody else. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I know Josh likes to travel a lot, so we'll start with your favorite vacation destination. Josh?
Where's my favorite place to vacation?
Yes, and why?
Well, I mean, not that I don't consider like Florida like a vacation because I basically live there. So we're gonna put Florida aside because I know everyone in the comments is already like telling me how much they know that I love Florida. So Florida aside, I would say probably Spain, to be honest, probably Spain. Why? Okay, so I love Spain because I love the language there. I love the culture. I love the food. I love the weather. I love the people, just like the beaches. I love tanning. Like right now, I'm Casper the Ghost White, so not happy about that, but I'm usually very tanned, and I like to be by the beach and be by the warmth. And I'm in a cold-ass city right now, so I'm not happy about that. So, yeah, that's me. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
All right. So, funny enough, it used to be Florida because I had family there that I really loved going to visit, but unfortunately they've passed away. So, right now I'm kind of in the process of finding a new vacation spot. I think as far as the places I have gone that I liked would be Costa Rica. That was a really great place. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Anais?
Oh, you said it right. Woo. Okay. So this is a really hard question for me because every place I love traveling. That's like my biggest passion. And every place I go to, like, there's always something different that you like about each place. So it's kind of hard to just pick like one. But if I have to, I'm going to pick the island of Jersey. Not New Jersey, but the island in the Channel Islands called Jersey, because it has like one of my favorite things ever is trees. I'm originally from Arizona, where it's like no trees, no water. So yeah. I love places with a lot of water, a lot of trees. So when I first, saw the island when I was landing on the plane, I was just like, I'm in love. The roads, it's just like all these trees. You look up, all you see are like branches and leaves, and it's an island, so there's like lots of water there. So I really would love to go back. So probably Jersey.
Love it. And sorry, where you said it's an island of Jersey? Where is it?
It's in the Channel Islands. It's like an hour away from England. It's between England and France.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. And
I went there too. I ran a 13K there. So.
No kidding. Wow. Hey, wait. So is it a city or in a country or what is it?
It's basically it's a little island. So it's basically like a little town. Yeah.
It's part of England or?
It's part of the UK. It's pretty. Okay. Yeah. It's I kind of basically walked half of the island in like an hour, so I could have walked the whole thing across the whole thing in like a day to get to the 13K. Yeah, it's pretty small.
That's incredible. Wow, I love it. Okay, so is someone else gonna ask a question now, or how does this game work?
Now you ask a category.
Yeah, you go in.
You want me to ask?
Circle.
You what?
You pick a category and then answer it. And then everybody else answer.
Okay, cool. So I want to know, this is like totally like left field. I've kind of, I think this is like an important thing for everyone, but, and this is, you can answer however way you want, because I know it's a pretty open-ended question, but like, what's your purpose? What's your life purpose? What do you believe is your life purpose?
Wow. I've actually have thought about this, even like now more because of the quarantine, but even before quarantine, I had actually thought about it, and I don't know, but I think I have like maybe a couple of purposes, but one of them I think for sure has been to help people be with the right person, because the reason I say that is because I have been like that girl that a guy will date, and then I'm very observant, so I'll be like,
Right.
you know, going on dates with this guy, and I'm like, I think you're actually really in love with your best friend, so you should probably be with her.
Oh
So
my
like,
God.
I've
Okay.
actually broken up with people because I realized that they actually like somebody else more than me. So, and I've done that like several times, and I'm just like, maybe my purpose is like to try to like help people be with the right person.
You're a matchmaker. I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Jessica?
All right. So my purpose would be to help teenagers find their voice, which sounds kind of vague, but I'm going to school to be an English teacher. And the way that English is taught is changing right now. There's more focus on, rather than teaching kids what to think, it's teaching them how to think critically, and how it's very important, and how to teach them to, because the whole point of essays used to be to prove that they read it or to prove that they know what they're talking about, but what it should is to have them put their thoughts on paper and think critically and argue their point, so that when someone reading it, their thought process is shown out. So yeah,
I love that. I love that and totally relate to it as well, because I was a typical, I guess, a typical case of a misguided kind of teenager, where I'm like incredibly intelligent. I have really high intelligence, but the way that I kind of applied it in typical, like the regular academy, like an academic school, was just not the way to get through to me. I would ask questions, and I would question things. I would always ask why, or, you know, how so, or, you know, I'd always want to know to get to the bottom of things. And for whatever reason, people always got mad at me. I always got in trouble for asking too many questions. I've always been a curious person, and I've always wanted to try to instill that in the new generation. We need to teach kids how to think. We need to not teach them how to think, but create an environment for them that allows them to thrive in their own thinking tank or their own think environment. So instead of just telling them the way that you're supposed to think, I think that our own individuality and our uniqueness is like what separates us. You know, like that's should be looked at as an asset.
absolutely. And if it's any comfort to you, that's what the goal has been lately. I mean, there's been a lot of generations that have looked back on how penalizing students like you were for asking too many questions, for thinking too deep, is the complete opposite of what education should be. So if it's any to you, we're doing it better now. We're encouraging think critically. We're encouraging them to ask questions. So it's getting better.
Love it. All right. Who's got the next question?
One of us, or
yeah, Anais, do you have one? Or?
Jessica, why don't you go?
Me? Okay. So what is your favorite thing to read? If we're doing, reading as a category, that can be a category.
Okay, so I guess I didn't really answer the last one, but yeah, I'll go for this one. What do I like to read? Honestly, I know it's gonna sound like such a millennial. I mean, I am a millennial, so whatever, like to hell with it. For me, I love reading. I read a column. I'm like a diehard boxing and UFC fan, like diehard. I love it. I'm such a sports guy, but like, you know, we do get ESPN here, but like it's not the same kind of culture that Americans have around ESPN. And so I read this column on all my MMA and boxing news, and there's something about the drama and all the things that are happening. It excites me. So I enjoy reading those. And honestly, like other than that, the only other things that I really like read would be like if I'm reading statistics or analytics on the real estate market. So I don't know if you both know, but I'm in real estate. I'm a realtor in Toronto. And I'm fascinated by real estate and how the financial market works. So I love those. Even though I'm not a numbers guy per se, I love reading and looking at patterns. Like I'm really in tune with patterns and how they all work in conjunction with each other. So it's always fascinated me. So that's the extent of my reading. That's about it.
Reading is reading. Whatever
There you go. Exactly.
Mhm.
And Anais?
Well, lately I've been reading a lot of like, I guess, like self-improvement things, just about, you know, becoming your better self, because I've always been about that, because I feel like you can always be better. Yeah. And definitely about like financial literacy, and just because that's something I wish that my parents taught me. I wish they would have taught that in school. I feel like that's something that people should teach. And I read this really Napoleon Hill. I don't know if any of you have heard of Napoleon Hill. His books are really good. Yeah, I've learned so much. And then also just about communication. I read how to win friends and influence people.
Yes.
Yeah, because I kept hearing about that book, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I feel kind of lame reading it, but then I read it, and it's actually like really good. So just, I guess, just being just trying to be a like better, well-rounded person. So yeah.
I love that. And you know what? If it looked like I was looking down and writing something, it's because I had to write that down, because I have been that book, How to Win Friends and Influence, I've been trying to remember the name of that book for like probably 2 months, and it's been on the tip of my tongue, and you just sparked it. So thank you. I need to reread that book.
Yeah.
Cool. Jessica?
Oh yeah, I have to answer my own question. I would say fantasy or drama novels. That's my favorite. I've been reading a series. I found that it's actually, for some reason, more satisfying to just read a novel and the story to be over, because you're not. It feels more satisfying, more complete. At the end of a series, you're always feeling like you deserve more, like you should have more of the. But with a novel, once it's over, you can live with it.
True. Yep, absolutely.
I'm sorry. I feel bad that you didn't get to answer the purpose question. Do you want to answer that?
Sure. Yeah. You know what? It was my fault. I totally forgot about it because I got a little excited. But yeah, honestly, my purpose has always been helping people. I've always known that there's a bigger purpose than just like me and my physical being and my body. I've always known that, like, I think that I can contribute a lot to the world. Honestly, I've believed this since I was a little kid, but I in some way think that I'm going to change the way that the world is in some little way. I think that there's two main things. Number one is I believe, because I also work with tech startups. That's something I'm kind of working on. I want to develop and create an app that helps us translate online to offline and offline to online in terms of communication and relationships. I don't know why, but I feel like I have this amazing idea to create an app that allows for the offline, the online to kind of coincide and be able to kind of remain and live harmoniously between the two. Because I have a feeling that, like for example, when you meet a guy on Tinder, you might have the Tinder online relationship. It's sometimes hard to translate that to a real life offline relationship. And so I wanted to create an app where you can actually have them to become interchangeable, whereas you can meet somebody in real life and you can actually translate that into an online relationship, and vice versa. You can meet someone just strictly online and have that translate better and more efficiently to the offline relationship. So I think that that's going to change the way that we do things in the future. And I think that I'm going to have a part to play in that. So I think that I want to help people to kind of similar to Anais, is like, I want to create a way that I want to help people to be connected in some way, connected deeper than we already are. And on top of that, I want to honestly, like, I think that my purpose is, I feel like this is my learning stage in terms of like I don't know if you're spiritual at all. I'm super spiritual, and I believe that, you know, we learn lessons, you know, in our lifetime. And I think that this is a life where I'm going to be doing a lot of learning.
Do you think that this experience is going to help form the app that you're making?
Yeah, I do. I think that by the very least, you know, it'll help me to learn about how these things work. Like, you know, if I meet my person, or, you know, if I develop a really great relationship on here or connection, let's see how that translates to real life. You know, I'm curious to be my own guinea pig. So I'm very bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as they say. I'm very excited. I'm just very hopeful, and I'm very optimistic. I'm a happy person. I'm a happy guy. I'm always optimistic, and I always see the best in things. So for me right now, I'm my own test subject, and I'm curious to see how it all works out. So
Awesome.
that's it. Okay, Anais, I feel like you have a question maybe.
Does it have to be about things that we love, or does it have to
You
start with?
honestly, do you ask any questions you want? I think that,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So, okay. So, what is something that, in terms of like relationships, because no one is perfect. So, what is something that maybe you like, a quality or some kind of characteristic that maybe you're trying to work on or improve on?
Yeah. Okay. Good question. So I think, okay, something that I'm working on is definitely like my, I guess like my patience, when I get into like a flustered, mindset, I guess, where, if I start to get flustered, I need to remember to, maybe take a step back and not react so quickly. I'm not a hothead or anything like that. I'm a really calm, cool, like chill guy, but I feel like when things get a little heated, maybe like for example, I'll give you an example. If somebody messes up your order, that's like a typical one where people seem to get flustered, where somebody messes up your order and you upset somebody at the table. Or maybe like, for example, I think there was a time where I went out with one of my mom or my dad, and the check, like the bill was under the salad on the plate, like it was in the food, right? And so they freaked out. And of course, it's things like that, the reactional emotion that you have to things that happen to you. And I feel like, I've been working on how to handle that, maybe take a step back, kind of rethink what's going on, and move forward in a more kind of lighthearted way, as opposed to taking it really seriously and reacting quickly. So I've been working on that, and just kind of like my patience. I have good patience, but I think that it's something that I'm really working on right now. So, yeah.
All right. Jessica?
And Jessica?
I appreciate that because I used to be a waitress. So patience
Oh, yeah,
is you too?
Yeah.
So yeah, you earn some points
Me
for
too.
both.
Me too.
Oh, good.
Hey,
Well, I wasn't
sorry
a
to
waitress,
cut
I was a
in.
waiter.
I just want to let you know we're going to wrap up in about 5 minutes, okay?
Okay.
Thanks, Harrison.
You're welcome.
So something I need to work on in relationship wise. That's the question, right, Anais?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I accept less than I deserve. That's kind of been my theme for a really long time, is to be really forgiving and not be critical, and try to treat every problem that comes up with my partner with compassion. And I thought that was being a partner, but it's really not healthy to yourself. You have to have boundaries. You have to respect your own boundaries. So that's something I'm really working on right now.
Absolutely. And Anais, I want to answer your own question. I want to hear what you got.
I'm definitely, I worked on it, I kind of realized it in my last relationship, and I started working on it then, was just being more, like expressing my affection more, because I didn't grow up in a very affectionate family. It was like, I grew up with like no affection, so I didn't know what it was like. And I would just like feel these things, but I would never like vocalize it or really express it. So it's just like, I assume that they're just supposed to know. And then I kind of try to make more of an effort. Like, for example, like just doing little things. Like if I'm thinking about them, I'll just send them a text like, hey, I'm thinking about you. And then like, wow, they like really appreciated that. And I was like, oh, okay. Or like if I felt like just like giving him a hug or something like that. So definitely just working on that more. But I realized it was because of that, just because of my family. I didn't grow up with that. So it's kind of something I've definitely had to work on, and just being more affectionate and just showing affects
Yeah.
me.
So I'm curious. Quick question for both of you is, what are your like two love languages? Like, I don't know if you know what they are, but
Oh yeah, I know.
okay. Okay, yeah. Honestly, it's mostly guys that don't know. So
I'm
yeah. So
surprised
I'm
when a
curious.
guy knows, because mostly guys like either don't know or they don't want to take the test. They're like, no.
Honestly, for me, like, communication is always key. So learning how to communicate and understand your partner is like super important. It's critical. So I think that if you don't understand your partner and how they show love and how they receive love, then you're never going to have a successful relationship. So I'm curious, I guess, since you just talked Anais, Jessica, what are your love languages?
So I think my primary is words of affirmation and my secondary is physical touch. And the reason I'm unsure about that is because they feel kind of equal. So depending on what mood I'm in, I either need more words or need more physical touch. So it's hard to pin which one is a primary and which one is a secondary.
Okay. And Anais?
My number one is quality time. Emphasis on quality, because sometimes people are like, oh, we spend time together. It's like, yeah, but you didn't talk to me. So quality time for sure. And acts of service. For me, the words are like the last one. So that's why it's been I really have to work on using words for other people who prefer words of affirmation, because for me, it's like the last thing.
Interesting. So you want to know something interesting? I think you're both of you ladies will find this interesting, as well as the audience. But my two are one of each of yours. Both, like, you, Jessica's primary and Anais' primary. Those are my two. So okay. So it's physical touch and quality time.
Okay.
And the key word being quality time. I'm the exact same way. I spend a lot of time on my phone? Yes, when I'm not in company, when I don't have anyone with me physically. But when I'm with someone, I'm with you, and I'm not like one of those guys who's glued to my phone texting when I'm with you. When I'm with you, and you have my undivided attention, and you'll never see me pick up my phone. It's just the way I am. So quality time is key, where we can actually talk and we can enjoy each other. Quality time for me might not be just sitting face to face and having a conversation. It could be enjoying a meal together side by side. It could be watching a Netflix movie. Like, as long as I can feel like I'm connecting with you on an emotional level, then we're good. So, where are you both from? Like, where are you from?
Okay, guys, sorry, it's time.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt the party.
It's all right.
Are you guys both from America?
I'm from Tennessee, so I'm from America.
Yeah, I'm from America. I've lived in several states in America, but I'm from America. I bounce around. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Thanks. It was great to meet you.
It was so nice to meet you. Honestly, I've had so much fun with you both. Honestly, this has been my favorite so far.
Aw. Thank you.
It was fun. Yeah.
Stay in the video chat for a second, and we'll let the ladies leave. I just have a question for you.
Okay.
Hold on.
So we just leave now?
Yeah, or I can remove y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Have a good night.
Bye, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
And then Sarah, will you stop recording?
Yeah, give me 1 second.